Hello friends, welcome back. Want to deploy your Angular 19 web app to the Azure completely free? In this video, we will create an Azure App Service, which is an F1 free tier plan, set up a CI/CD pipeline in Azure DevOps, and securely deploy the code using a service principle. Plus, we will also see some important security tips. So let's get your web app live in just a few steps. So stay tuned. This video is part of the full stack development video series. We were building the Smart Certify online platform, and this is episode 16, and we will dive into the hands-on now. To get the Angular 19 completed code, go to github.com/learnsmartcoding, and under the repository, you come and search with Smart. You will see something called Smart Certify UI Angular 19. This code has everything that you need, including the Azure AD B2C configuration for the production deployment. So this is what you have to do. You have to either clone it or download it. Okay, if you clone it, you will get something like .git. You just remove it. So what I did is I cloned it and I go to this dev.azure.com/learnsmartcoding. This is my login. So basically we are going to push that code into the Azure DevOps repository. So I have a repository called Smart Certify Web, and I actually pushed it. If you want to know how to do this, there is a video in the series, episode 6, which I will give in the description, and you can watch that. So if you want to know how to push this code here, you can go to the channel playlist, and there is something called Smart Certify App Full Stack Development. If you go here, there will be an episode 6. So if you scroll down and click on the Git Azure DevOps for Absolute Beginners, this is what the video is all about. So this video will quickly tell you how to push the code from your local to the Azure repository. That too, if you wanted to create this DevOps completely, you can still watch this video. Everything is covered. Now let's get into our hands-on coding for the CI/CD pipeline. So I'm going to close this. The first thing that we have to do is let's go to this portal.azure.com. And I'm going to create a new web app. So type web app and you will see something like this in the marketplace. So click on it and it will take you to this location where you need to fill up all the basic information. So as part of this demo, I've been using this subscription, but actually for the real application that I've already hosted, which is in this subscription, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a subscription, you can use it. We're going to use F1. So per subscription, 10 websites are free. Okay, so under the subscription, already my 10 websites is completely occupied. Under this subscription, I have just started, which is great. Now I'm going to use the resource group for this, and then you have to give a name. So I'm going to give a name like this, LSA Smart Certify Web, and remove this. As long as this is giving a check mark, which means this is unique, and our code is going to be a code, not the container. This is a Dockerization, Docker based stuff, so we are not dealing with that. We're going to deploy the code, and it is asking you the runtime. See, this is Angular application, so we need to choose the node version here. We can choose 20 or 22, both should work. So let's say this application is can work with 20 and 22, so you can choose both, it will still work. I'm going to choose this, and then this actually can run in both Linux and Windows, but there is a routing issue with whenever we deploy the Angular application in the Linux. So I'm going to choose Windows for now, and the moment I choose Windows, everything is adding it here. I'm going to choose. So here is the pricing plan. So pricing plan, I'm going to choose the F1. And you can actually click here and explore the pricing plan. There's various pricing plan, and F1 is the one which is free. Just remember, this is a free resource, so it can run only for 60 minutes per day. And if you're exhausted with that given free version, it will just shut down and it will open up again from the next day. It will reset every day. Okay, so we have selected this, and then right now this zone redundancy is disabled because of the plan that we have chosen. Everything looks good. I'm going to choose this as the ECUS2. So this is the shared plan, F1 free database. We're not dealing with database. And then deployment, we will set up everything in CI/CD pipeline. So make sure you have this basic authentication disabled, and this is also disabled. Okay, we're not dealing with this. Next is networking. The URL should be accessible from the internet, so that's why it is on. And next is monitoring. We don't need Azure App Insights for this Angular application. So when it is going to show me this, we can turn it off. Okay, we don't need it. And then we will say, so tag is done. Let's go to the last step. If everything looking good, everything will look like this. So it will also show you what you have chosen. Everything is free. Everything is free. Whatever we're doing is free. So I'm going to click on create. It is initiating a deployment, submitting the deployment. In few minutes, the deployment will be done and we will jump onto the configuration. So the deployment is success. I'm going to go to the resource. So once we go to this resource, you can see under the overview, there's a domain that is what we created. So if I go and type like this, basically Microsoft will deploy its a static page here. That is what it is displaying. So what we are going to do is we are going to change this into this page. If you look at this, there is no LSC in the front. So this is the one that I have deployed for the public to use. So this is what we are going to make this one. Okay, so we are going to deploy the code and make sure this is working exactly like what I did. Okay, so now let's go and let's try to understand. So you can find everything here, all of the important stuffs are here, but for the Angular application we don't need to know any of these settings. That's why I'm not explaining. This video is mainly on CI/CD pipeline, so we will focus on that. Let's go back to our Azure DevOps. So dev.azure.com, this is where the code is there. So if you come to this left side, there is something called pipeline. If you click on pipeline, you'll see the existing pipeline. If you watched my previous video where we deployed the .NET Core 9 web API to this Azure web app, that is the pipeline here. So I'm going to click on new pipeline and I'm going to choose where the code is. In this case, the code is here and it is asking me where under this project. This is the one, and it is asking me what kind of application is this. This is basically a node application, right? I mean, it's an Angular application, but behind the scene node is the one which is there. And this is Node.js with Angular. Build a Node.js project that uses Angular. We are not dealing with that. It's a direct Node.js. So I'm going to click on this, and what it has done is it has just triggered some basic YAML file. So let's understand what it has done. So it read the file and it knows that there is only one branch and it wants to trigger whenever there is a code change in the main branch. And it is going to use the Linux build server. Ubuntu latest means it is going to build our application in the Linux server, which we don't care about it. It can build in Windows, Linux. It is up to the build server. Okay, and then it is going to give us some information here. So it's saying this is a task. Okay, we want this version of the node to be installed, and we will say install node.js. Okay, this is the name, display name. It will show in the pipeline, like I'm going to show you that. So it will first install this node, and then what it will do is it has some script to install it. So we're going to change the script to a little bit different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say npm install Angular CLI, globally install the Angular CLI, followed by npm install. So imagine this. What this is doing is, if you get the code from this one, okay, in your local, what and all you will do? First of all, in order to run this code, you need to have your Node.js installed in the local machine. That is what this pipeline is also doing. Okay, wherever the code is taken to the server, it will first install Node.js. After that, what you will do? You will install the Angular CLI globally, followed by npm install, so that the package will be installed on the project. This is exactly doing the same thing. So in the build server, wherever the code is copied, it will install the Node.js first, followed by the Angular CLI, followed by the npm install command running on your code. Like your code means the code which is copied. Then whatever happened in our local is what will happen here. So for good, it got the build content, but it needs to put it somewhere so that the build release pipeline can use it. It's like this, right? I build and keep it somewhere, and whoever comes and asks me, hey, can you give me the project that you built so that I can run it? Fine, here you go. Like that, I will take it from a place and give it to them. That is what exactly it is doing. But here is one more thing that we have to do. Okay, so I'll repeat. This is Node.js Angular installing npm. The next thing is we have to install our packages in our project. So I'm gonna do one more thing. So indentation is important. So the dash will start from the first. So what we are doing is we are saying, hey, run this command, npm run build prod. Where is this build prod? Let's take a look. This is the code. Open up here, go to package.json. Do I have something like build prod? Yes. So basically it is saying run this command. Okay, I can also say directly like this. This is equivalent. The only reason why we name it like it, because the pipeline we don't need to change. In case if we wanted to change this to something, right, we don't need to change this. That's why we don't copy paste this, rather we give a name from. So tomorrow if you change this, pipeline will not get affected. It will still pick up this. Whatever is there in the code at that point of time, it will execute. Okay, so similarly when build pipelines are set up for different environment, they will use different thing for building the application based on the each environment. So for good. All right, the last thing is, after everything is done, it needs to put the code somewhere, right? Like I explained you. So what I'm going to do is, it is going to say a task name called publish build artifact, and then we're giving put the code here. Okay, so let's go and understand this. Let's go here, go to angular.json, and if you look at this output path, see it is coming under disk smart certify. Okay, so for you to be very clear how I am doing this, okay, all what you do is let's do the same thing, npm run build prod. Okay, what this is going to do, it is going to pick up this command and it is going to install, it is going to run it. So basically when I ran first time, there was no npm install done, that's why it started showing error. So it's done. Okay, so what I did is I ran this command and it built the project. After it built the project, if you go here under the disk, under the smart certify, under browser, only all of this contents are there. So this is the reason why we put this. Okay, so if you wonder and if you find out your project, your application is like getting your output into a different folder, you have to name this here, because it will always go and look for it when the build is done. So now you know why we have put this. Now basically there will be a save and create and save. Okay, in this case it was already created, that's it's not coming, but basically create and save will be there, and then you click on it and that's it, it will run the build. So once the build is run, you can go to the pipeline and click on the web pipeline, and if you click here, this was the first job that was completed, and you can clearly see it will check out the code. Basically it will take the code from our repository, put it into Ubuntu server, the Linux server, we don't know where it is, but it is managed by Microsoft. There it will install the node, it will install the Angular, and then that is what is and then it will install npm. Finally it will come and install our command. If you look at this, this is the command that it will run as per the YAML file, and finally it will build. You can look at this, this is what has happened, right? And then it will fill everything, and this is exactly looking what we were doing in the local, right? After that, what happened, it will publish like a zipped content. Okay, now the pipeline is done. Now we have to click on release pipeline. So release pipelines is nothing but continuous deployment. Build pipelines are nothing but continuous integration. Okay, so continuous integration is done. Continuous deployment is after the code is ready, the build is ready, we need to put that into the web application, then only you will have always the latest one, right? That was called continuous deployment. So what we are going to do is click on new, create new pipeline. But before I do so, if you have already watched episode 15, which is part of CI/CD pipeline, we were able to deploy the .NET Core 9 web API to the Azure web app. There I would have showed you how to create a service principal. If you are new to this video, let me quickly show you how to do it. We need to give an access to we have to create something called service principal, which will have access to deploy the code to this location. Okay, a specific access to this location. Now go to the project setting, go to connection, like the service connection, and you can see as per the last video we created this. But don't worry if you're new to this one, I'm going to attach a piece of video and that will show you how to get this one. Click on the project setting and then go to the service connection. There is no service connection. This is what called service connection is nothing but the service principal that we are going to create. So service principal I've already explained in one of the videos, service principal versus managed identity. But just for this video, service principal is something that used for automation or CI/CD pipelines, right? There is one entity, okay, which is created by us. We are giving permission what it has permission to do. So that is what we're going to do. So click on service connection, click on Azure Resource Manager, next, and then it will ask you the subscription. See, loading subscription is going to trigger a window now to re-authenticate myself. Okay, so what this will do is it will ask me to re-log in, to grant access, and as I speak it just showed. So I'm saying from this DevOps I'm giving access to this portal account. Okay, it's better to have the same account. It's going to send me notification. So once I authenticate myself, now it started showing me all of the available subscription. Okay, so basically the subscription ID is what is showing in the bracket, but we are dealing with this subscription, right? See, you have to choose it correctly. Under this subscription only we created the web app, right? Or if I have created a web app from here, I need to choose this. So I'm going to choose this and I'm going to choose under which resource group it has. It is under this resource group, service connection name. So I'm saying, just for understanding, right, smart certify. So I'm saying it is for smart certify app deployments. Okay, this is reference, this is all for understanding purpose. I can say, I have to say grant access permission to all pipelines so that any pipeline that uses this service connection can be used for the deployment of the web app. Okay, I'll repeat one more time. This is Azure service principal. We are creating a service connection. We authenticated ourselves to the subscription. We chose that. We choose to under which resource group we have access. Like this, whoever is using the service principal have access to the resources only under this resource group. If I have something under this, it won't have access. Okay, so I'm going to choose this and you will see that shortly. If I save, click on save, the service connection is getting set up. So basically Azure is granting a credential-less access to this service connection from CI/CD pipeline. From this Azure DevOps, it has access to deploy to this location, to this one. That is what it is going to do. And see, service connection is set up. Great. So now you created the service connection. If you have already followed the previous video and you already have it, you don't need to create the new one. Great. Now let's go back to the release pipeline. So let's go to pipeline, click on release, click on new release pipeline. In the new release pipeline, I'm saying I need to deploy this to Azure App Service. I selected this, come and select add an artifact. Basically we are saying where to pick up the code. This is the project and it is asking which version you want to pick up. I always wanted to deploy the latest one, but you can also have option to choose a specific version. Okay, in the real world, if daily basis people will keep, development will happen, all of a sudden if you wanted to deploy like 2 days before code, you can actually choose a specific version and it will ask you which version. See, there's a build number. If you have deployed, if the build has several build, like based on the dates, see, this was done on March 14th as a first build .1. If so many builds are there, build number will change. You can specifically deploy a particular version of code. Okay, imagine this. You did a change, in next 1 hour, your friend did one change, your colleague did one change. His colleague's change was actually deployed. But let's say for some reason you wanted to restore your changes, which is the previous version, and see what is going on in the deployment. You can choose that version and deploy it so that your code is, your colleague's changes are not present in the deployed version. That is used to test, particular scenarios and all. But anyway, coming back to this, I choose the latest one, say add, and if you click on this thunder symbol, right, this is called continuous deployment trigger. So whenever new build is triggering, whenever the code changes happen in the main branch, a new build is triggered. Whenever new build is triggered, do I want it to automatically deploy this? If answer is yes, generally in company answer is yes. So I choose this. This is for pull request. This is like every time a colleague or create a pull request to merge your changes into a particular branch. Do you want to trigger a build? Company wise, yes. For us, we don't need. I am the owner, I am the pull request guy, I am the approver. So in my case, it is not required, but it's good to know how pull requests are getting triggered with the build. Okay, now close it. Come here, let's change the name to development and click on the task. The first one, choose the subscription. See, Azure available Azure service connection. I'm choosing the one that we just created. It is asking under that which type of app, Linux or Windows or what it is. We know we created Windows, so if I choose Linux, obviously there won't be nothing displayed here. See, because we do not have any web app created for Linux, but if you choose Windows, 2 will be there. It's refreshing. See, app API is also there, UI is also there. I'll choose UI. This is good. Go to the agent, come here. Let's see, everything is selected properly. See, under drop all of the content. This is what we wanted to deploy, right? So this is good. So verification is good. The last one, because of the service connection, everything got filled up. And you see this is the name, this is the resource manager, this is the subscription name, Windows, this is the web app that we need to deploy. And coming back to this one, I will choose this hamburger signal, go here, click on drop until here, because from the content inside this only we need to choose. So choose this and let's name this. So I'm saying Smart Certify Web CD pipeline. Click on save. Where should I put? I wanted to put inside this. Create release. First time alone, you need to create a release and choose the staging. In the previous video, I also showed how to have many stages like development, QA, staging, production. And I will give a link in this video which will show how to deploy this to 4 different web application at one single shot. Okay, now let's go to release 1. Very first time alone, because you manually triggered, you need to deploy this manually, which I'm doing this, and this is taking in progress. Like you can click this, it will show you the logs here. Basically what it will do is it will go fetch the content that we zipped it, like not we, basically the build server zipped it, right? It will take that content and then it will talk to this Azure portal. By using the Azure service principle, it will negotiate and it will know who it is. Azure will accept it. Azure will say, okay, fine, you are my guy. It's downloading now. See, after that, it will go connect. See, it's trying to connect. Service connection details is this. It's trying to connect. And once it connects and put the code there, this application, which is nothing now, will automatically be up. Where is that? Okay, so let's wait till this is completed. Package deployment using zip initiated, successfully deployed. So it is going to restart the application for us. See, the deployment is successful. Stay tuned, I have some important updates to make this work. So if I just go here and click, magically this is going to work. See, it's working. If I click this, it's going to work. But what you need to know before you get into this, right? If you take my code, of course it will work. But if you're trying to implement the same logic into your thing, make sure you focus on the following code. You should have a file called under the source, you should have a file called web.config. That is what is going to help. For example, if I choose this, if the web.config is not present and if I'm trying to go to that route directly, it won't work. It says 404. Let me know in the comment section if you find that kind of an error. Okay, but if you have the web.config which defines what to do, it actually defines what to do. Basically it tells you how to redirect. That's why this is important. Next is go to the angular.json, and here remember under the configuration called protection there is a replacement happening. So it will take this, replace with this content. What is this content? This content is a separate configuration did for the protection, like for what we deployed in Azure. So server URL will be the server's API URL. You cannot have a local host here, okay? But here it is talking to localhost. Okay, so it will copy this completely and put it here when it is doing a build. That's why pay attention under this angular.json, under configuration, under protection. This is important. And then remaining and all, you can just cross verify here. If you have any questions, join the Telegram group and just ping me. I'm gonna respond to you immediately. Okay, and you can also comment in the comment section. You will get a response very quickly. And so this file is important, web.config is important, and everything else is solid. And what else? Yeah, so this is working, right? So it was very easy for us to deploy. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section, or if you want a specific video, let me know. Join the Telegram group where we can chat, and there's a group where we can help each other, and together we can make the programming easy and everyone can code. Don't forget that. Alright guys, stay tuned and I will see you in your next video. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding!